Yes, now we'll discuss about the auditory tube. Auditory tube is also known as Eustachian tube or pharyngotympanic tube. Here in this diagram you can see this part is nasopharynx. From here this is oropharynx, this is laryngopharynx here. So this is demarcation. This is nasopharynx. This is upper, middle and lower concha, and about 1.25 centimeter behind this posterior end of this inferior concha there is an opening. This opening in nasopharynx, this is nasopharynx, is known as auditory tube. This auditory tube or Eustachian tube or pharyngotympanic tube is mucus lined osseo-cartilaginous tube communicating between nasopharynx and middle ear cavity, and it is useful in the equalizing the air pressure outside and inside the tympanic membrane. So first of all we'll make a diagram here. This is, here lies median raphe, and this part this is superior constrictor of the pharynx. This is superior constrictor of the pharynx. Between superior constrictor of the pharynx and base of skull, this is base of skull, between this there is an opening or gap. This gap is known as sinus of Morgagni. This gap is known as sinus of Morgagni. Sinus of Morgagni. This is sinus of Morgagni. This gap, and in this gap here is this opening is present in this gap, this opening. So this is medial end of auditory tube. Here lies lateral end. This is medial end. This is elastic fibrocartilaginous. That means this part, if you enlarge this, it become like, this is like inverted J. So this part is fibrocartilaginous. So this part is fibrocartilaginous. This part is fibrocartilaginous. And there is hinge. This part is hinge. This is elastic part. This is elastic. So this is elastic. It connects this fibrocartilage part and this fibrocartilage. This part form the lateral lamina. This is lateral lamina. This form the lateral lamina, and this part is the medial lamina. So this is medial lamina. And this is lateral lamina. This is lateral lamina. And in between these, this is elastic hinge. This is elastic hinge. And rest part here, you can see, here is also membrane is present. this is fibrous membrane, and this length of this cartilaginous part is about 24 millimeters. So this is 24 millimeter, and it has bony part, lateral part. Lateral 1/3 is bony. This is lateral 1/3 part. This is bony part, and it opens into the tympanic cavity. So here is tympanic cavity. So it opens into the tympanic cavity. This is tympanic cavity. This is mastoid antrum. Mastoid antrum. This is tympanic cavity. So it opens into the tympanic cavity. So this part is bony part. Bony part is 12 millimeter long. So total length is 36 millimeter from here to here. This is 36 millimeter. Medial 2/3 part, that is 24 millimeter, is cartilaginous, and lateral 1/3 part is bony. This cartilaginous part, this lies in the sulcus tubi. It lies in the sulcus tubi. Here, one important thing, here greater wing of sphenoid and pectoral temporal bone. This sulcus tubi lies between the pectoral temporal bone. So if you make a diagram here, pectoral temporal bone, here is, this is pectoral temporal bone. So this tube lies between the pectoral temporal bone, and here this is greater wing of sphenoid. So this is greater wing of sphenoid here. This is pterygoid plate. So it lies between this sulcus tubi. This is sulcus tubi here, where cartilaginous part is situated, and this sulcus tubi is formed or lies between the petrous part of the temporal bone and greater wing of sphenoid. And here, as you have seen, this is membrane. So on the anterior side, it also take part in formation of anterior lamina. This is lateral lamina. This is lateral lamina. This is medial lamina. So, and here, os minus pad of the fat is present. Just anterior to the hair, there is pad of the fat present here. This is known as Ostmann's pad of fat. So this is pad of the fat. So this is pad of the fat. Ostmann pad of the fat. If you see the direction, its direction is downward, forward, and medially. So from here, downward, forward, and medially. And it makes an angle with horizontal plane. It makes an angle with horizontal. It makes an angle of 30 degree, and with sagittal plane here, it makes angle of 45 degree. So with sagittal plane, it makes angle of 45 degree, and with horizontal plane, if you make horizontal line, the angle is about 30 degree. So on medial end, here you can see there is an elevation. Here is mucosa, and under the mucosa here is elevation on the superior and posterior wall. This elevation is known as tubal elevation. Here tubal tonsil is present. This elevation is known as tubal elevation. And here this tubal elevation is covered by mucosa, mucus lining, that is respiratory mucosa, pseudostrated ciliated columnar epithelium, and deep to this mucosa there is lymphoid collection, and that is known as tubal tonsil. So tubal tonsil is present here. So tubal tonsil is present on the medial end. And here at the junction of these two parts, it is not straight, it is slightly bent here on lateral side. And here the articular surface, here is there is serrations. It is not straight lining, it is serrations, where these two parts, bony and cartilaginous part, is attached. It is serrated. If you see the muscle attached with this, there is one muscle here, as you know, there is one muscle which attached on the lateral lamina. This is lateral lamina from here. So this muscle, also pectus temporal bone. This muscle is, this is levator veli palatini. Levator veli palatini. So this muscle is levator veli palatini, attached with the lateral lamina and also apex of the pectus temporal bone. So this muscle is levator veli palatini. Another muscle is here lies. So here this is tensor tympani. This is tube for the tensor tympani. So tensor tympani muscle also passes through this tube. So this is tensor tympani muscle. So tensor tympani. This is tensor tympani muscle. Tensor tympani muscle. Another muscle from here you can see, this is salpingopharyngeus muscle. This is salpingopharyngeus muscle. This is salpingopharyngeus muscle. Salpingopharyngeus. This is salpingopharyngeus muscle. And one another muscle that is known as dilator tubi. So it attaches with from here to here. And from here it turns, goes to soft palate. So this muscle is tensor veli palatini. This is tensor veli palatini. This muscle when contracts, it dilates this. It attaches here and it dilates this auditory tube. That's why it is known as dilator tubi. According to some authors, the salpingopharyngeus also act as dilator tubi. But most of authors agree with this tensor veli palatini. It acts as dilator. So it dilates this auditory tube. So these are four muscles which attach with the auditory tube. And usually this auditory tube is closed. During swallowing, it opens and it helps in the equalizing pressure in the middle ear cavity. So, and if in some cases it is blocked, then sometimes pressure decrease due to this blockage. So sometimes by a tube which is inserted through this for the dilatation, and this may be helpful. If you see the arterial supply, it is supplied by middle meningeal artery. So here is middle meningeal artery, here is foramen spinosum. So through which middle meningeal artery goes. So middle meningeal artery is supplied by middle meningeal artery. Here is ascending pharyngeal artery, this is ascending pharyngeal artery, ascending palatine artery, and venous drainage, veins from here, it goes into the pterygoid villus plexus and pharyngeal villus plexus. Nerve supply, this medial part, nerve supply is important. This medial part is supplied by maxillary nerve, that is pharyngeal branch of pharyngeal branch of the pterygopalatine ganglion by maxillary nerve. So this part is supplied by maxillary nerve, and rest part, lateral part is supplied by glossopharyngeal nerve. So lateral part is supplied by glossopharyngeal nerve, which also gives supply to the tympanic cavity. And lymphatic drainage, lymphatics from here goes to deep cervical group of lymph node and also retropharyngeal group of lymph node. So this is all about the artery tube or eustachian tube or pharyngotympanic tube. Thank you.